Your brain would rather get a guaranteed electric shock right now than have a 50% chance of getting one later. Let that sink in. There is a part of your mind that actively prefers guaranteed pain over the simple possibility of it. By the end of this, you'll understand the precise neurological reason why maybe is a heavier burden than no. And chances are, this ancient survival mechanism is tricking you into choosing failure just to escape the stress of waiting for success. Imagine you're in a lab. You're hooked up to a small device on your wrist. The researcher explains the rules. On some trials, a red light will appear. When you see it, you have a 50% chance of receiving a mild but uncomfortable electric shock. On other trials, a blue light appears. When you see that one, you will receive a shock. 100% of the time. You know it's coming. The researchers then ask which set of trials you find more stressful, the coin flip or the certainty. Every rational instinct says the coin flip is better. A 50% chance of pain is clearly superior to a 100% chance of pain. But the body tells a different story. When neuroscientists at University College London ran this exact experiment, they measured the physiological stress responses of the participants, their heart rates, their skin conductivity, the cortisol in their system. The results were completely backwards. Participants showed significantly higher stress levels when they were facing the 50-50 chance. The uncertainty was physically more taxing than the guaranteed pain. The feeling of maybe was worse than the reality of yes. This strange preference for certainty, even painful certainty, reveals the deepest operating principle of your brain. And that principle governs far more than just shocks in a lab. It governs your career, your relationships, and your peace of mind. To understand why, we have to look at what your brain actually spends all its time doing. Your brain is a prediction machine. Its number one job, above all else, is to create a model of the immediate future and make accurate predictions about what happens next. It's a survival mandate. Guess correctly where the food is, where the predator is, which branch will hold your weight. That's the entire game. When the world is predictable, the brain is happy. It can build a reliable map, allocate the right amount of energy, and prepare the body for a specific outcome. If you know a punch is coming, you can brace for it. The preparation itself reduces the impact. A no negative is a solved equation. The brain calculates the cost, pays the price, and moves on. The simulation is complete. Uncertainty shatters this process. It's a broken piece of code in the prediction engine. When the outcome is unknown, the brain can't solve the equation. It gets stuck. It's forced to run simulations for every single possibility all at once. What if I get the job? What if I don't? What if they never call back? What if the biopsy is bad? What if it's fine? Each of these scenarios requires a different map, a different set of preparations, a different energy budget. The brain tries to prepare for all of them simultaneously. It's trying to brace for a punch, prepare for a hug, and stand perfectly still, all at the same time. The result is a state of profound cognitive paralysis and exhaustion. You feel it as that low-grade hum of anxiety when you're waiting. That inability to focus on anything else. Your mental bandwidth is being consumed by a process that has no end. The brain starts a process of no, a war of attrition against itself. And you feel this stress in your bones as much as in your head. This isn't just a psychological quirk. It's a deep biological reality. Your body has a system for dealing with threats. It releases stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol to prepare you for action. This works perfectly for acute short-term dangers. A car swerves into your lane, your system floods, you react, the danger passes, and your body returns to its baseline. The problem is, your stress system evolved for that kind of threat. Physical, immediate, resolved quickly. Your brain running endless what-if scenarios is an abstract threat. It's never resolved, so the stress response never turns off. This creates a condition called allostatic load. It's the cumulative wear and tear on your body from being held in a state of chronic low-grade activation. Think of it like a faulty fire alarm. A real fire is dangerous. but it's an event. The alarm rings, you deal with the fire, the alarm stops. Uncertainty is an alarm that just keeps ringing day after day because there might be a fire. The constant blare is its own form of damage. It degrades your sleep, disrupts your digestion, weakens your immune system, and clouds your thinking. That tight feeling in your chest while waiting for an important email? That's allostatic load. The fact that you can't sleep the night before a big presentation? That's your body paying the biological price for an unresolved simulation. Your system is burning fuel at an alarming rate, preparing for a future that hasn't arrived. After a while, any resolution becomes preferable to the constant drain, even a bad one. This leads to the most destructive consequence of our hatred for uncertainty. We begin to self-sabotage, simply to make the feeling stop. If the state of not knowing is biologically more expensive than a known bad outcome, your brain, in a twisted act of self-preservation, will seek to resolve the ambiguity. At any cost, it will force an ending. Any ending. This is the person who picks a fight with their partner when they feel a little distance. The fight provides a clear answer. It resolves the painful what if of a slow drift apart, replacing it with the clean, sharp pain of a conflict. It's the person who stops trying in the final stage of a job interview process. By subtly withdrawing, they engineer their own rejection, which is less painful than waiting by the phone for another week. They are choosing the guaranteed shock. This behavior looks irrational from the outside, but from the inside, from the perspective of a brain drowning in allostatic load, it makes perfect sense. It's an escape valve. It's trading a chronic, unknowable anxiety for an acute, manageable pain. You are taking control of the outcome. You're the one crashing the plane, so you know exactly when and how it'll hit the ground. It provides a perverse sense of agency in a situation that feels helpless. Critics might call this pessimism or a simple lack of resilience. And it's true that individual tolerance for uncertainty varies, but the underlying neurological mechanism is universal. The only difference is the threshold. At what point does the biological cost of maybe become so high that you'd rather just take the hit? For many of us, that point comes sooner than we think. We are actively choosing smaller, guaranteed failures to avoid the slim possibility of a huge success that comes with a high price of waiting. So, what does the brain do instead? How do you escape this trap? The answer comes from observing people who operate in the highest stakes environments imaginable. Astronauts, trauma surgeons, bomb disposal experts. They live in a world of constant life or death uncertainty. They cannot afford to be paralyzed by what if. They all use the same mental flip. They relentlessly shift their focus from prediction to preparation. They abandon the question, what is going to happen? It's an unanswerable question, and trying to answer it is what generates the corrosive stress. Instead, they ask, what can I control right now? They can't control if the patient will survive the surgery, but they can control the precision of their next incision. They can control their checklist. They can control their communication with their team. An astronaut can't control for a random micrometeorite hitting the hull, but they can control their knowledge of emergency procedures. They can run simulations until their actions are pure reflex. Each of these actions is a small, solvable problem. This shift gives the brain's prediction engine a new job, a better job. It stops trying to simulate a million possible futures and starts executing a concrete plan in the present. The cognitive load plummets. The sense of agency returns. The allostatic load decreases because the body is no longer preparing for everything. It is doing one thing. The torture of uncertainty comes from a demand for an answer that the world cannot yet provide. It's the desire to see the last page of a book you've only just started reading. The freedom, the only real freedom, comes from changing the question. Stop asking what the world is going to do to you. Start asking what you are going to do right now. One is a cage made of questions. The other is a key made of action. And this exact mechanism, this shift from trying to predict an outcome to focusing on a controllable process, explains why the most successful long-term investors seem to do the exact opposite of what their emotions tell them during a market crash, which is a different kind of